Hello everyone, Neil Tappin here from Golf Monthly and welcome to Royal Ashdown Golf Club, the old course where today we are going to answer your new rules questions. We have a list of questions from people who've watched our videos in the past and we're going to try and answer some of those things that people might not be too clear about. I'm joined in this video by Jezz Ellwood. He's Golf Monthly's rules expert. He'll be talking through some of those key elements that you need to know about the new rules of golf. Guys, if you're new to the Golf Monthly channel, please do hit the subscribe button to make sure that you don't miss any of our videos. Hit the like button if you like what you're watching, and also please do leave comments below. Is there anything else about the rules of golf, the new rules, that you're looking for clarification on? We will help. But let's head out now onto the golf course and take a look at 8 new rules questions. Okay, so first on our list, we're talking about searching for your golf ball. So when you've hit your ball, as in the situation we're here, short of the 14th green, ball hit into some heather, can't find it. Jezz, the rules, there have been a couple of subtle changes to the rules, or one subtle one and not so subtle one. Well, tell us what's different.
Yeah, well, it depends whether you class the difference between 5 and 3 minutes as subtle, I suppose. But the main one, obviously, is that search time has come down from 5 to 3 minutes, and the idea behind that is that we all want golf to get moving a bit quicker. Shorter search time should speed things up a little bit, especially if you're looking for a lot of balls.
Question is though, Jezz, I mean, no one is standing there with a stopwatch. No amateur is, at least, anyway.
Well, I don't think so, and you know, the golfing purists may get upset about that, but I've been playing for a long time, and you rarely, if ever, play with anyone who actually times a search. Have you ever seen someone do that? They start the search. I mean, we've all, over the years, we always sort of roughly estimate it, don't we? Whether that's right or wrong, I don't know, but that's how it is. Yeah. So now we've just got to roughly estimate it a little bit shorter. Yeah, so just use your common sense, look for a little bit less time. If you don't find it immediately while you come in, you need to start thinking about what your next plan of attack is going to be. But Jezz, if you do happen to find it, and in so finding it, you accidentally move the ball, there's a change to the rule there. There is a change. It was always felt as though maybe the fact that if you moved your ball when searching, you got penalised for it, was a bit of a deterrent to actually get involved too heavily. So you'd be wandering around, allowing the other people in your group perhaps to search more earnestly. But now, if you move that ball, which you can't see here on camera, there's one just down here, if I tread on that and it moves, I'm now accidentally, yes, obviously, I've not kicked it deliberately, although I did in that instance. But let's assume I've moved it accidentally. I can now replace that ball where it originally was lying and then play my next shot without penalty. And if it's not completely obvious exactly where that spot was, you estimate it to the best of your ability.
Okay, Jezz, well, put it back to where it was and then have a hit for us, if you will.
So it was about there.
Oh, you've given yourself a good lie there, Jezz.
Maybe it wasn't quite lying that well originally, but let's see if we can get up and down for a 3 still. Didn't come out particularly well, but at least that's now only my second shot rather than the third that it would have been last year.
So the next one on our list relates to double hitting chips. It's a terribly embarrassing thing to do when you do it. I've done it probably more than you have, Jezz.
Probably.
I could probably do it on demand from here.
Yeah, I mean, this is not a great lie for that grass growing against you, bit of grass in front of the ball. If ever you're going to do it, it's going to be that as the club decelerates and then you flick it through again.
Well, exactly. But the reason that I would be so pleased with this change in the rule is that I now don't get the extra ignominy of having to add a penalty shot to my score.
It's an interesting one, isn't it? Because you know, you've hit the ball twice, maybe more times. It's not just double hits, it's however many times you hit it within one stroke, and there used to be a penalty for that, as many older viewers will know. TC Chen famously got penalised in the US Open many years ago.
If you haven't seen it, check it out. There's a clip on YouTube.
Check it out on video. Cost him dear because he was in contention. Anyway, now there would be no penalty for what he did there. So, you know, rules 30 years on or whatever it is would have resulted in a different scenario perhaps. Yeah. But the idea is that, you know, usually when you double hit it, it doesn't go where you want it to go.
Yeah, the ball's going to go flinging off over there or
over there. So you're already at a disadvantage. That said, I did have a letter from one reader saying that he was playing with someone in a match who accidentally, and it was genuinely accidentally, double hit a putt and the ball went in the hole.
How do you double hit a putt?
I don't really know. I guess you sort of, I've no idea. He said it was accidental.
I guess he may have been quite close to the hole. And
maybe, I don't know. And he said it was accidental, except it was accidental, and that would no longer be a penalty. So that putt would be deemed to be holed.
So if you are unfortunate enough to double hit a chip or a putt or any other shot on the golf course, and somebody tries to stick an extra penalty shot onto your score, you now know that you don't have to do that. Okay, so this is the 14th hole at Royal Ashdown Forest, on the old course at Royal Ashdown Forest.
It is.
And one of the notable things, it's a great golf course, but no bunkers, Jez.
No bunkers.
Which is not particularly ideal for our next point, which relates to loose impediments in bunkers.
Yeah.
So for the sake of this video, this is a bunker. Yeah. Not a grass bunker, but an actual bunker. And the rules relating to loose impediments have changed.
They have. So, I mean, formerly, you couldn't remove a loose impediment from a bunker. So that's twigs, leaves, anything naturally growing, that kind of thing. One thing you could sometimes move was stones, but there had to be a local rule enforced to be able to do that.
Let you do that, yes.
But of course, because golf clubs didn't want the risk of stones flying up and hitting people in the face, the vast majority of golf clubs did have that local rule, so you could move stones. Now you don't need that local rule, and you can also move any other loose impediments as well. So twigs, leaves, anything naturally growing, bits of dried grass like there are over here, you could remove those.
Yeah, so if you've been slightly nervous about doing something like that, don't worry, go ahead, remove any loose impediments in the bunker. Now, Jez, one question I was going to ask you is, why in the old version of the rules didn't they let you remove those things?
I mean, it had been part of the rules for some time. I think it was just one of those things. They felt anything natural on the golf course was just there, so just deal with it.
But you're allowed to move them if you're not in the bunker.
You are. That is true. It's a hazard. You see, a bunker was a hazard.
Yeah.
Now it's got its own rule, so it is a bunker. But it was a hazard before, and I think the idea was if you're in a hazard, not quite tough luck, but you know that you're in a hazard, so just deal with it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not supposed to be easy.
It's not supposed to be easy, but one thing that has not changed is that if you, if you'd moved a stone before under the local rule and your ball had moved, you would still be penalised. So if your ball is resting on a stone on an upslope and it's only the stone that's stopping it from moving, you still can't really do anything. We still can't do anything.
Good point. So beware of that. So if you are in a bunker, your ball's on a slope and there's a loose impediment keeping it up there, be very, very careful if you're thinking about moving it.
Indeed.
Okay, so perhaps the most eye-catching of all the rules changes it relates to the dropping procedure and the way in which you drop the ball. So in the past, obviously having your arm out at shoulder height and dropping it from there, now you're supposed to be dropping it at knee height. Jez, we've got a situation here where this is pretty much unplayable. You can't see it on the camera, but the ball has sort of nestled in a little hole.
The other side. Wrong side of the heather.
Wrong side of the heather.
Yeah.
Jez, go through the procedure and what's the issue that some people have raised here?
Well, I mean, we're not going to go through the reference point, but the option here is unplayable. You can either drop it 2 club lengths from that point. You can go back online to the flag. The flag is over there. You can't see that. Or I could go back to the tee. This is a par 3. But the dropping procedure is now basically you have to drop it at knee height. You're not supposed to. You have to drop it at knee height. Whereas before it was shoulder height, as you say. And some people have said, well, that's quite difficult to do. But
why are they saying it's difficult to do?
Well, I think a lot of people initially thought you maybe had to bend over this way, and that's quite an awkward move. But the reality is you can bend over with your eye right over the ball and drop it from there. And I'm not sure that that's particularly awkward to do. Yes, maybe some older people struggle with bending and what have you, but my mind is saying, but surely getting the ball out of the hole or picking it up from where you then got to drop it requires you to bend further down than dropping it at knee height. I appreciate there will be some people for whom it is difficult, and a lot of people have those rubber suckers on the end of their putters, don't they, to get the ball out of the hole. But I don't think that is a real issue, personally.
I think, in my mind, of all the new rules, this perhaps would be the one that I suspect the RNA and USGA might look at again, because I feel like there's not really much difference between dropping it at shoulder height and dropping it at knee height. And if they wanted to stop the ball rolling away, well, then why didn't they just say, just drop it from whatever height?
Well, I think the reality, I would actually counter that a little bit and say the reality is that if you drop it from knee height, it's far more likely to stay roughly where you've dropped it than from shoulder height, especially on firmer lies. And the idea was that this would partly improve speed of play as well. So if you're dropping it and then not having to re-drop it because it rolls outside the area where it's allowed to, then you're obviously going to save a little bit of time. And from my experience, certainly dropping at this height in this kind of rough, the ball does tend to stay where it is and often stays in the kind of lie you want it as well. So some people have a problem with this, I don't.
Okay, go on then, Jez, have a hit for us.
Right, well, I've not really dropped it where I would, but
go on, no.
Anyway,
it's out in the open.
I've dropped it in a reasonable spot and it's not an illegal drop, so and that's come out quite well. So 6 feet to try and save my bogey.
So there you have it, everything you need to know about the knee-high drop. Should hopefully make things a little bit easier for people. Okay, next on our list relates to putting with the flag in. Again, it's a very eye-catching rule. This is a big change for the game of golf. On the whole, this is being seen, I think, as a really positive thing in terms of improving pace of play, Jezz?
I think, yeah, probably. I would say there are some people obviously against it, who it sort of pains to see putting with the flag in, but from my experience this year, most people are accepting it, most people are embracing it, and they're not always putting with the flag in. There may be from outside 15 feet, they'll leave the flag in. When they get close, they'll take it out. But
exactly. I think when it was first announced, we all went through that period where some people wanted it in all the time, some people wanted it out all the time. There was a bit of a dance happening on the green with the flag. But now it seems to have settled down, and mostly when people are getting closer to the hole, someone will take it out. But from further away, just carry on and play. And
personally, I've not experienced that in-out dance, and most people I've played with have kind of been, I don't mind whether it's in or out from this range. So you've got that kind of leeway to, if most of you want it out, take it out. If most of you want it in, leave it in.
What do you think about pace of play and putting with the flag in? Do you think it's made any kind of material difference to your round of golf? Do you think it's actually brought the length of time it takes to play 18 holes down? Be interested to hear your thoughts. But Jezz, there's also one other comment that we had. Another question we had about people taking the flag out while the ball's also in the hole. Explain what that's about.
Well, I've seen a few comments on Twitter and elsewhere, people saying that the hole is getting damaged. So we'll walk into the hole here. You can obviously now putt with the flag in. People are then maybe, instead of taking the ball out first, pulling the flag out and potentially damaging this top part of the hole on the way out.
So pulling the flag out with the ball in.
Yeah, you know, but sometimes you try and do that and spin it, don't you?
Yeah.
Like that. And some people are doing that and damaging the side of the holes. Apparently, I've not seen it myself. Particularly, I'm not aware of it. But then a lot of my golf has been played earlier in the day, and I guess it would be a later in the day problem where it becomes more evident. But I've not seen it. But I guess the thing to remember is, if you putt with the flag stick in and hole it, take the ball out first, and then you probably don't even need to take the flag out.
Okay, Jezz, we have another bunker one.
Yes, we do.
And you'll notice that we're not stood in a bunker.
We're not, and you know, this rule change doesn't really affect golfers at Ashdown Forest, but everywhere else pretty much.
It does.
Yes, it does.
And previously, under the rules, if you found your ball in an unplayable lie in the bunker, you had to then drop the ball in the same bunker.
Well, pretty much. There were 3 options, and 2 of them you had to drop the ball within the bunker. You could have, of course, always go back to where you played from, or the tee, or wherever it was. But if you're taking 2 club lengths or dropping back on line, it had to be within the bunker.
And it's one of those scenarios that often, if that's the scenario that you're facing, the ball's plugged in the face of the bunker, you're having to take a drop, and then you drop it, and you plug yourself into the bunker.
Even though, of course, you've just dropped from there, but you'd be dropping from down here.
You're still plugging into the bunker.
In soft sand, it's still going to plug. So. The R&A have introduced this new option where you can now drop back on line outside the bunker. So you could go back as far as you want, but the only slight downside is it's 2-shot penalty rather than the 1 shot it would be for dropping inside the bunker. So if it was a tee shot and a par 3 that are plugged, it's right up the face, there's heather growing around it, you don't think you can play it, you drop back out, you would then be playing your 4th shot. So realistically, unless you hold your chip, the best you're going to do is double bogey.
But if you dropped it inside the bunker, it would be a 1-shot penalty.
1-shot penalty, so up and down for a bogey.
So options there for you. It doesn't come, this rule change doesn't come without its cost, its penalty, so it's something well worth considering. I think I'd take my chances from a slightly plugged lie in the bunker.
I think probably most people would, but for some people maybe bunkers are a real issue, or it really, you know, it's definitely going to plug and just be just as hard a shot again. They're going to leave it in there again. Occasionally people might think, okay, I'll take my medicine, 2 shots and go back out. So I've not seen anyone do it yet, but maybe some are.
Helpful bit of rules knowledge there. Use that the next time you find yourself in a really difficult position in a bunker. Okay, so any controversial moments you may have experienced around the new rules are probably related to those new rules that got the least amount of publicity when the changes were made. Jezz, we've got a situation like that just here. So this is a scenario that many of you out there watching this probably don't know too well, but has cropped up and has created a few questions for us to answer. So what's going on here?
Well, I think the issue here is, and I've had to check this quite a number of times because I wasn't really aware about this when the new rules were publicised. So with this ball here, a substantial part of it is below the surface of the putting green, so that ball is now deemed hold, whereas it wouldn't have been in the past. And I think the reason is because Formerly, you know, the chances of wedging a ball against a flagstick like that are only from when you chip or putt from off the green perhaps, or a full shot. So it's a pretty rare occurrence. Now you might experience that quite a lot because you're allowed to putt with the flagstick in.
But in the past, people in this sort of scenario would have walked up and just jiggled the
They
flagstick
would.
slightly and the ball would have dropped into
They
the
would,
hole.
yeah.
Would they have been breaking the rules?
No, that's exactly what you had to do. In
Yeah.
fact, you know, if you didn't do that, it wasn't deemed to be a hold. So, not that anyone I've ever seen would have done it in a manner that might have caused the ball to come out. You
But
want
it
it to
could
go
have
in.
done. I guess
It could have done. I suppose if it was a windy day and the flag wasn't in properly.
Yeah, or if we were playing a match, I might run up there and take it out
You might,
very
but that would be very poor form. So I hope you wouldn't have done that. But I suppose it could have happened in the past, and yes, you would have had to jiggle that around until the ball had dropped. Now you don't have to do that. I suppose a time-saving thing, you can just walk in, say, in for 3, away you go.
And off you go. So small, subtle change to the rule. Now you know. Okay, so this is one of those scenarios in the old version of the rules which you'd have felt really hard done by. So playing in a competition, you've hit the ball into the rough and it's plugged. The lie here is a proper plug lie,
It is.
horrible.
Yep.
And under the rules of golf, in a competition, you'd have had to have played that as it lied. Undoubtedly, if you were in a friendly, your friends would definitely have given you a drop.
Probably.
I mean, the amount of times I would have had a drop from a scenario like this in a friendly.
Yes.
And I suspect the RNA and USGA probably realised that was the case. They
Yeah.
felt it was unfair, so they changed the rule.
Yes.
Jezz, what's the rule?
Well, I mean, just to quickly point, you had to play it as it lied, but you could, of course, have chosen to take a penalty drop.
Under a penalty.
So it would have been a penalty drop, or you try and gouge it out of there somehow. While you could get relief from embedded balls on the fairway and closely mown areas before, the RNA has now extended that to what it calls the general area, which includes areas of rough like this here in this slightly lush hollow where the water could conceivably gather at certain times of the year, and you might end up with that.
So what's the procedure then? So where
Procedure
do you drop it?
is, well, the hole is over my shoulder here. You find the reference point directly behind the ball.
Just about here.
So that's going to be about there somewhere, and then you've got a 1 club length arc within that to drop the ball.
And you should be using...
You should be using the longest club in your bag,
not your wedge.
the putter. Well, not your wedge and not your putter. And that's another change, is that the club length is now the longest club that you're carrying that day, to get around the issue of people with long putters potentially getting a little bit more of an advantage.
Yep, so pick it up, find your spot here, measure out a club length, whichever side you want to go. Have a look actually at the ground that you're dropping it on. Try and find an area that you think
You've
is
got
good.
a reasonable arc there to choose, and of course you can drop it at that height, so you can find your little tuft and try and drop
Try
it.
and drop it on it. So
Right,
that
look at
looks
that.
pretty good to me.
That would be a nice lie.
So I'm going to just drop it on there.
And now Bob's your uncle, up and down, par, move on.
So there you have it. Those were questions related to sort of 8 key areas of the golf course where the new rules of golf have really come into play and really made a difference for the average amateur golfer. Guys, please do leave some comments below. What do you think about the advice that Jezz has given? Is there anything else you need clarification on? We would be more than happy to help. But for now, from Royal Ashdown, it's goodbye.